Guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video, man, we're going over the best SMGs for COD Zombies here on Black Ops 6. Last time I did one of these videos, we did assault rifles, so this time around we're going to go over the best SMG builds for the SMG category. So this should be a quicker one compared to the assault rifles since there's one or two less SMGs to go over. Also, just a side note, I want to mention here, if you guys are interested in all my builds for all my guns here on Zombies and multiplayer, they are all on my COD community profile. The zombie ones are up to date 100%, and then the multiplayer ones, they're mostly up to date. Just like I think half the guns in the game just need to be updated because I've obviously changed my builds with a lot of those guns, with a lot of the guns on multiplayer since this game's launch. But yeah, if you guys want builds, they're over there. I think there's like 140 different builds right now sitting on my community app, so tons of different builds to run. Most of the zombie builds are relatively the same, so you don't have to look through all of them if you don't want to, but I think there's a couple that I'm running different attachments on. For the most part, though, it's mostly the same. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop into the video and the builds. So first one off the bat, we're going to be talking about here is the MP5. This MP5 build I'm running is super solid. This is a zombie build. Okay, so normally I would have the extended mag on this, the extended mag 2 mag. I don't know why the extended 2 mag wasn't saved, but this is the build that I normally would run. Now there's something a little different that with the zombie builds compared to the multiplayer builds is I'm running the vertical grip instead of the ranger grip in a lot of the guns, and that's just because the vertical grip doesn't feel as useful in multiplayer. The ranger foregrip seems to be better for movement and accuracy. But in zombies, you don't really need to worry about that. Simply for the fear pact is movement is not really that big of a concern when you got like stamina and all that stuff. So I've been focusing on recoil just so I can get a lot of those laser beam type of feeds. So when I'm high rounding, I don't have to like control recoil as much. I can be more brain rot instead of having to focus. But that's the MP5 build I'm running. Oh, next we have the KSV. I think I can just view it from here if I think. Yeah, so this is the KSV build I'm running. The KSV is actually probably one of my favorite SMGs behind the PP19. The KSV just feels like a 74U that is really smooth and it just feels good to use, so I'd highly recommend it. The only thing I would change on this build that I don't for some reason have changed, because I don't have it unlocked, would be rapid fire, and then instead of the fast motion, you could put the target laser, and maybe a balanced stock, but this inflated stock is just as good as well. But other than those three attachments, there's not much that changes. Oh, and the reinforced barrel, I almost forgot. As you can see, I haven't touched these guns in a while since the community app has everything updated, but the actual builds in game haven't been updated since I finished Nebula. But otherwise, this is the perfect build here for this KSV. I mean, you could use this thing without rapid fire if you really wanted to, but I feel like this thing with the rapid fire is absolutely deadly. But that's just my experience. A lot of these builds that I use have been tested in custom games. I'm just waiting to get the levels unlocked for them, and I think I might work on getting the weapon levels going forward. I just haven't been focused on it because of Nebula. But yeah, this is highly recommend this build for the KSV. The only other thing about the KSV you could do is get rid of the laser and maybe put an optic on it. But I'm not really that big of a fan of the optics in this game for just most of the SMGs. I think the SMG category just has far better iron sights than it needs, so it doesn't really need optics as much. But obviously that's completely up to you as well. Up next we have the Tantu, which is a gun that is very controversial. I don't think I have rapid fire. I do have rapid fire unlocked. Cool. So yeah, so this is the build that I would run with the Tantu on zombies specifically. Now the reason I say this is because the multiplayer build that I would run with the Tantu is a little bit different. I wouldn't have a suppressor on it. I would have a regular muzzle. But for the most part, this is pretty close to what I would run on multiplayer. And obviously the rear grip can be, you can put the CQB on, or you can put the ergonomic grip on. One of these two grips always works for these guns. The biggest thing with these grips that you have to remember is these grips that do 1 or 2 positives aren't that great in terms of what their they're usable for. So early guns or early builds for early level guns, those grips will be fine. But if you're not running CQB or aerodynamic, you're really gonna put yourself in a bad spot. So I highly recommend you run one of those two grips. It doesn't matter which one. I think both of them are quite good. The only difference between these two is, do you want to slide to fire faster or do you want to dive to fire faster? I do think there is a stat recently that got released that people are talking about how the CQB is actually quicker just in terms of everything, including ADS, sprint, slide, and dive. But obviously, it's up to you as well. I would say the CQB grip's a little bit faster for you guys that want to get into a firefight faster, because obviously this aerodynamic does ADS instead of sprint to fire speed. But again, they're kind of the same thing. They're doing the same thing with mobility, so it doesn't all that matter. ADS speed in this game is for regular guns, for full auto weapons, are not bad, so you're not really struggling with ADS in my opinion. Not until you get down to the sniper rifles. But otherwise, this is what I've been running here on the Tantu for Zombies. This is just the most comfortable build that I found, and you'll find yourself actually quite enjoying this gun once you get that good build. Up next, we have the PP19. The PP19 as well is one of those guns that I think is completely underrated in the COD scene right now. I think a lot of people are forgetting about the PP19. But it is one of the best guns in the game right now, currently sitting. This thing's an absolute monster. It's good at medium range, it's decent at long range, and it's really good up close. And in Zombies, that extended mag, Pack-a-Punch, it makes this thing one of the biggest magazines in the entire game. I think the only gun that has, I think, a bigger magazine than this is the LMG that has a level 4 extended mags, I think. This has like 360 rounds or 400 rounds or something with a Pack-a-Punch, so it's an absolute monster when it comes to how much ammo you have with this thing. And if you're doing any boss fights, I highly recommend this. This is something that I wish I would have ran yesterday on the Terminus Easter egg when me and my boy were doing it, because the gun I was running did not have any ammo. I was using the explosive pistols, so it kind of sucked for ammo. This thing would have been a godsend had I had this, but that's it. That's what I recommend for the PP19. Again, great if you're wanting to go for high rounds as well, just because that ammo capacity. And into a higher rounds, it's still really strong. Up next, we have the Jackal. This is probably my least favorite SMG in the game, which is really sad because I thought this was going to be one of my favorites, especially from the beta. I thought this was going to be my favorites. And it just wasn't, and it's not. It's a really weak SMG. It feels just inconsistent at a lot of times, and it's just disappointing all around. But if you're running the A Jackal, I recommend this build because this build will help it at least be functional within the game itself. And we have the Compact 92. Now, the Compact 92 is a weird SMG for me because I kind of don't like it, but I kind of love it. It just depends on my overall mood. And the reason I say that is because the Compact has such a fast fire rate. If the best way to explain the fire rate is if you played Black Ops 3 in the early days of the life cycle, like before the first DLC, then you would probably remember the Vesper being extremely broken to the point where it had such a fast fire rate that the gun would go instantly in the air. Well, this gun has similar fire rate, except it's a little bit slower, enough that you're not losing control of it like crazy. But this thing is seriously just like a Vesper 2.0, which means it's great up close. This thing up close is an absolute machine. This thing will dominate in all those small maps, especially on Zombies when you're going against the hordes in from around 20 or so up. This thing's an absolute beast against the manglers and stuff, but for the most part, this SMG does struggle with those medium to longer ranges, so I definitely recommend this build. Will help a little bit at the far ranges. The only difference is I have a Ranger grip on it, but obviously you put that vertical grip on it, you'll knock most of the recoil out. But yeah, that's a great build for the Compact 92. And then obviously with the new gun, we have the SOG. Now the SOG is, for some reason, not saving zombie builds. So what I'm going to do here real quickly is build it for you. So I would put on the suppressor. Again, suppressor for all zombies guns, flat out. Just because it's just the best option. For the SOG in zombies specifically, I'm going with the Kimbo, because these things akimbo are pretty insane. Magazine, obviously we're going to go for extended mags 2. Rear grip since we're going for hip fires, we're not going to be ADSing. We're going to go for that CQB grip. Rapid fire, because of course. Barrel, we're going with reinforced. If you're not running reinforced on guns in this game, I don't know what to tell you. You're making mistakes, man. You're making mistakes. And then obviously the laser. They don't let you put on these 3 lasers, unfortunately. But they do allow you to put one of these 2 on, and so this one we're going to go with the fast motion, just because that mobility, the accuracy. This one really doesn't give you all that much accuracy. And yeah, this is the build that I would recommend. Obviously, you can't put an optic, and you could put an optic, but it doesn't do anything, and then obviously you can't put an underbarrel as well. So this is the build that I would run. If you're running it not akimboed, then I would recommend the balance stock, and the underbarrel I would put on like the vertical grip or the Ranger grip, just depending on what you're going for. But I highly recommend akimbo. I think most people I've talked to also agree that akimbo is just better for the SOGs, because these things are an absolute monster. And these things have 55 rounds each in their mag, which is, that's doubled. You're looking at around a 250 round magazine to have on your character, which is amazing, especially since you have the mobility of an SMG. It's going to make these things absolute monsters in late game. But with that being said, man, that is my SMG builds for zombies. I know these builds aren't 100% finished when I make through these videos. I'm going to work on that because I haven't had the time to actually sit down and fix these classes. But all these builds that I have are on my community app, and those are 100% the correct classes. So check them out if you're having issues following along with these videos. I'll have more tips and tricks, more Easter egg stuff, more everything coming to this game. I'm trying to do a little bit of camos for multiplayer, trying to push myself a little bit, because I feel like I have, now that I've gotten Nebula for everything, I feel kind of refreshed a little bit, and I feel kind of ready to kind of get back into a camo grind again. So maybe we'll give it, Dark Matter another try, maybe, I don't know. And either before Christmas give it a try, and maybe after Christmas give it a shot. We are on that 1,000 grind, so no matter what, we're still playing the game. And then obviously, if you guys want to see content somewhere else, like, Warzone or whatever, let me down below. We have the new Zombies map coming up here in a week. I think it's like 6 days away, so that's going to be huge. I'll probably be live streaming all day that day. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Tons of content coming, and I have some other stuff that's not Call of Duty related coming as well. It's been a rough couple of months mentally for me, but I am refreshed and ready to try to distract my mental and get back on the train, get back on the railroad tracks, and keep it moving and chugging it along. So hope you guys are ready for the content to get pushed out. I'm planning on live streaming this afternoon a little bit. I'm just waiting for my boy to hop on because I was hoping to grind with him today. So as long as he hops on, we'll stream. If not, I'll probably do some solo playing or something, maybe a stream, but I'm not totally sure. But with that being said, man, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope these builds help you guys on your Nebula grind. If you're looking to have help with Nebula grind, reach out to me. I've had 1 or 2 people reach out to me already asking if I'd help them with Nebula. I'm not promising anybody I'm going to grind it for you, but I will help you along your journey, give you the best tips, tricks, guides, all that stuff you could possibly want. I do have that Nebula guide in the works. I'm just trying to figure out how to put it all together. But yeah, with that being said, I love you guys. You're one of a kind, and I will see you guys